Hey guys, this is Jonathan with Bi-vocational Ministry. Today I'm going to talk to you the difference about Hill Ministry versus Skyscraper Ministry, so stay tuned. All right guys, let me break this down. I have served in multiple different capacities in regards to church. I've served as youth ministers. I've served as youth ministers at a few different churches. I have served as a church planter. I've served as assistant church planter. I have revitalized a church. I've been a pastor with pastors underneath me. So I've been a lead pastor. I've been associate pastor. I've served in multiple capacities. I run a mission. I help oversee a mission center that regularly shares the gospel. And I just want to talk to you today about something I've been thinking about the last couple of years, last few years actually. And in my time of ministry, I've always known that I wish the fruit was better. I wish the fruit was better. Now, when we talk about the outcome of what our churches are producing, we need to really think about what fruit is actually working. We're looking at an evangelical world that is extremely bloated. It's not near as big as it claims to be. And the thing is I have contributed to that, and I and other pastors have contributed to that because of the ways that we have wanted to operate our ministries. And I hate to say it, but sometimes I think we operate our ministries more so out of an ego than it is about making sure that God receives glory. And that's where I'm going at now. So I have spent the last couple years praying and seeking and evaluating and observing, just taking my time to do that, about what kind of ministry I think would produce the fruit. So let me tell you some of the fruit I'm talking about. One is we see people who feel like they're right with God because they came to a certain holy place. They came and they participated, and because of that, they somehow got extra credit with God and all that. And one thing that people don't realize is gathering with a body of believers is a response to our faith in Christ. It's a fruit of our relationship with Jesus. This idea that if I go to a certain place and hear a certain man preach, and I sing a certain number of songs, then somehow I get extra credit with God. But what they don't realize is the thing about building communities and all that is it has to be in response to a work that Jesus is already doing in our heart. What people I think sometimes fail to realize is that I gather with other brothers and sisters in Christ because Christ compels me. Because I have a relationship with Jesus and they have a relationship with Jesus, this brings us together as a body of believers. And one thing that, and it has concerned me because there's been such a lack of discipleship in the evangelical world. There's been and I'm not trying to be too judgmental, I'm just trying to be honest about the fruit. So many people, and I'm just going to say this, in my experience, I've met people who have been in the church for almost their whole lives, 60, 70 years. And they would have less of an understanding of what it meant to be a Christian as a 9-year-old in Sunday school. That's very disappointing, and that's something we really need to talk about because they're missing it. And the problem is they're not raising their kids, they're not fulfilling their duties as a follower of Christ in their homes or in their workplace or in their life because they feel like Christianity is something that they do when they go to church, and it's not who they are as a person. They have not actually taken on the identity as a Christian. They say I'm a Christian since I participate in church. I believe in God. I want to go to heaven. Jesus is in there too. I like Jesus. But as for Jesus being the center point of their life, and to be they live their life after him, it's just not there. And I think one of the reasons why that is because we have started building Skyscraper ministries instead of Hill ministries. And that's just the best analogy I can come up with. But let me explain to you what I mean. When you look at a skyscraper, you're like, wow, it's a very small foundation, huge tall building. You can see it for miles. And people are like, wow, that's so amazing. And it's so impressive. And it's just great. And that's how we operate. That's the dream for most ministers. They say, I want to build a ministry so great and so grand and so tall that they'll be able to see it from miles away. And I'm going to do it all for God. I'm going to give glory to God. and I'm gonna do it for God, and I'm gonna grow it, and I'm gonna build it for Him. But the thing is God didn't ask us necessarily to build Skyscraper Ministries. And if you look at it on Skyscraper Ministries, there's going to be a name on that. And my fears, I'm just going to reach out to you as an honest person, is this ministry you're building and filling full of people and getting huge and making a name, is it really for Jesus, or is it more about your ego? Because there were times when, man, I tell you what, when we tripled the size of the church, it felt good. It sure felt good. And I know when I've talked to other pastors that it becomes more, sometimes, not for every pastor, I don't want to be too judgmental here, but it seems that it comes out to be a little bit of an ego. So how do you remove that? How do you remove that ego? And because of those fruits in the church that have not made me real happy, and not seeing the outcomes in the church that we want to see, not seeing real disciples of Jesus. We're seeing people who think, well, if I come and participate at a certain time, certain place, then I'm more right with God. I said the prayer, I'm going to heaven, who cares? But actual committed Jesus disciples. How do we deal with that? Well, this is what I come up with. So instead of building a skyscraper, saying, look what I built, look what I built for God. Look at how great this looks for God. And I noticed that God in Jesus' New Testament showed us what that was like. And he wasn't necessarily always popular, and he wasn't out to make it. He was out to give glory to his Father, and that has to be our motivation. And if that is not the only motivation, and we use so many things to motivate our churches, we use pep rallies, and we use huge facilities and impressive concerts. We'll do anything to get these people motivated. But if Jesus is not the motivation for you to do the work you're supposed to do, then it's not worth doing. I'm sorry. If Jesus is not the motive, it's like, yeah, but I'm doing it for Jesus. Well, you got to do it Jesus' way. So anyway, so what I have come to, and what the model we are employing right now, is this idea of what I call hill ministry. So what it is there's actually a group that I know of that's planting churches in a big city. It's a very large city. And what they did was they planted fellowships and churches and assemblies in different parts of the city. And so instead of having one big church, they have multiple fellowships and small groups, small churches functioning within the city. And then once every so often, quarter, monthly, I don't know exactly how often they meet, then they come together for a citywide gathering, and they meet together as a full body of believers together in one place. And they rent a hall to do it. And then after that, they go back to their fellowships, and they serve in those fellowships, and they minister in those fellowships. They do evangelism. They function as full assemblies. And then, but once a year, it's kind of like you can think of it like a small convention, but not once a year, but once every so often, they come together as a citywide gathering, and they come together. So how am I applying that? I'm applying that this way. So we have a bunch of, like I told you in the previous video, we have a bunch of little towns with small populations. In fact, we were coming home from church today, and we'd never seen it. I don't know why, but we hadn't seen it. And Jennifer, my wife, saw the sign of a town. It showed the name of the town, and then it said population 6. And we cracked up over it. Anyway, but our thought and what we're doing right now is we're planting small fellowships of 20, 30, 40 people, depending on the size of the community and what they can get in there. And then in each of those little areas, in those little towns, we have those fellowships joining. And then once every so often, probably every quarter be for us, we're going to have a county-wide gathering, because they're small towns, county-wide, where the whole county of believers come together in one place, and they fellowship together as a body of believers. But they're not a body of believers because they are dedicated to a certain building or dedicated to a certain program or anything like that. They're a body of believers because they're dedicated to Jesus, and they're followers of Jesus, and they're disciples of Jesus. And so that is what our model we're employing right now. And I think right now, if everything keeps going the way it's looking, I think it's going to work out pretty well. We're kind of excited what it's going to do. Is it going to be impressive? Well, no. You're not going to see multi-million-dollar facilities or anything like that. But what you are going to see is evangelism being done, hopefully discipleship taking place, personal relationships, people's lives changing as they grow, and have them move in the direction that's towards Christ. And you're not getting any personal glory for it because it's not impressive to the world. The world's not looking and say, wow, look at that. It's hopefully more of a biblical model of doing it. And that's what we're going for. That's what our model is right now. I would like to know what you all think about it. And so if you would, just put a comment below and say, you know what, we're trying this or we're doing this. And because, again, our goal is to see true disciples of Jesus. And that our churches are building each other up in the faith, that worshipers and followers of Christ can come together, that we don't have to live in this bloated world where you have people who come there to serve and worship God, or follow Jesus because they follow Jesus, and then you have these tremendous populations of people who are there because they're impressed with the Skyscraper, they're impressed with the concerts, impressed with a whole bunch of whatevers. Their motivation for being there is not right. So we're hopefully going to curb some of that. So that's what we're doing. What are you doing? How are you doing things differently? Let me know what you think. And I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have a great day, and God bless.